camera. Action. Motorola grows to be a true power in the segment of attractive, efficient and inexpensive smartphones. The G series smartphones, which now has its 7th version, is highly popular, and now models from the One series join them. Of them is Motorola One Action, a smartphone that can be a real hit on the market. If you are terrified of the flagship's price from Apple or Samsung and you are looking for more economical alternatives, Motorola has a few aces up their sleeves. One Action can be one of them. The smartphone is not only attractive, but it has a decent efficiency, interesting capabilities when it comes to video recording, and it has a reasonable price. Motorola One Action is a model slightly similar to recently described Motorola One Vision, but it offers a different set of cameras. Provided that Vision has an efficient night mode and optical image stabilization, Action is supposed to be a great choice for those who are looking for unusual possibilities when it comes to video recording. We are talking about Action Cam, that is the possibility to record horizontally while holding the phone vertically. But the smartphone has many other advantages. Mostly a 21:9 ratio display, efficient CPU from Samsung, 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal memory. In addition, it works under Android One, a version based on Android 9 Pie, which guarantees software and security updates. Packaging and accessories. Motorola One Action is packed in a violet box, in which we can find, next to the phone, a charger, USB-C cable, a needle for opening the SIM card's tray, a handful of papers and a silicone etui. It's a shame there are no earphones in the set, but that's not surprising, after all this is a smartphone that costs around €260. Housing and display. I like the reviewed smartphone mostly due to its prolonged display. Despite a large diagonal, the device is relatively narrow, it lies in hands perfectly and it makes no trouble during usage. It seems to be solid and well thought when it comes to the construction. The body is made out of plastic, which is not surprising in the cheaper price segment. The frame is plastic, with a chrome layer at the top, while the backs received a shiny finish. Out of the two color variants, I received the white one, the second is navy blue. In addition, we cannot see any fingerprints on it. It is worth adding that according to the manufacturer, Motorola One Action is resistant to splashes. The display has a 6.3-inch diagonal and a full HD plus resolution, 2520 by 1080 pixels, which gives a pixel density on the level of 432 pixels per inch. I like its prolonged 21:9 proportions. Before we have seen such display in Sony Xperia 10 Plus or Xperia One, and I enjoy the fact that Motorola used it as well. If you often use social media or services that need to be scrolled vertically, this is a perfect model for you. Basically, the IPS display is great in its price shelf. It has great readability angles, decent brightness and natural colors, and in settings we can turn on the night mode and change the colors mode. I can only complain about one thing, the comfort of using glasses with polarizing filters. The image dims a lot when we are using the smartphone horizontally. The display has curved edges and in its left, upper side there is a hole with the front camera. It is rather dominating. I have a feeling that it could have been smaller. Bezels around the display are relatively narrow, and even though the lower one does not have any additional elements, on the upper one we can notice the cavity of the receiver. Moving on to the elements placed around edges of the plastic frame. On the left there is a tray for SIM and microSD cards, on the upper edge there is a mini jack and the hole for reducing noises. On the right side, traditionally, there are volume and power lock buttons, while on the lower edge we can see a microphone's hole, USB-C socket and the row of holes indicating the location of an external speaker. The backs are slightly curved, thanks to which the smartphone lies in hands comfortably. There is the module with a triple camera that slightly stands above the housing, and slightly lower there is a dual LED flash. On the back panel there is a place for a round fingerprint scanner with the Motorola logo, which turns out to be fast and precise. I had no problems with unlocking the device or with errors. In the lower part of the panel we will notice printed information about the model and certificates and the Android One logo as well. System and applications. Just like in previous smartphones, Motorola placed its bet on a pure system and Android One. It translates not only into a faster and smoother work, but more often updates and guaranteed monthly security update. In the reviewed model, the latter or date on the 1st of August 2019. Motorola does not have a habit of placing too much soft demos or apps from external manufacturers in its products. From additional elements that can be found in Motorola One Action, we can mention Dolby Audio and Moto app, which provides useful functions that cannot be found in a pure Android. This is mostly gestures support. We can, for example, shake the phone to turn on the torch, leaving the screen on when we are looking at it, or Moto display, that is showing notifications on a screen. It is supposed to replace the missing notifications LED. A single speaker placed on the lower edge is responsible for the sound. It ensures a loud sound of a decent quality. It resembles what is offered by other smartphones for around €260. While using the phone horizontally, for example while gaming or while watching videos, it is easy to cover the speaker with a finger, which muffles the sound. It is worth adding that the smartphone supports Dolby Audio. In the set we will not find earphones, but the smartphone has a universal mini jack, thanks to which we can plug in our own favorite set without any problems. An app from Google is responsible for playing music. There is FM radio, and this is a rare element in contemporary smartphones these days. The radio app is aesthetical and enhanced when it comes to functions. In addition, we can record broadcasts to AAC format files. Motorola One Action has a triple camera. The main sensor has 12 megapixels f1.8 and PDAF. It is supported by a 5 megapixel camera for depth measurement. But it is the third, 16-megapixel camera f2.2, around which the whole idea for the phone is built on. What is so special about it? It uses a 117 degrees lens. In addition, it is rotated by 90 degrees, that is why we can record horizontally when holding the device vertically. This is a curiosity that can find its niche, but first let's check how Motorola works in a more mainstream usage, while taking photos. First, a few words about the app. There are auto and manual modes in which photos can be saved to RAW format. There are interesting additional modes and numerous settings, HDR that works in the auto mode, and the possibility to record videos horizontally, which is Action Cam, that can be run with a dedicated icon next to the recording button. One Action works great in daytime photos. They are sharp, clear, with good dynamics and saturated colors. Night photos are average. There is no dedicated night mode. Photos are clear but with noises. Problems occur while capturing light sources. Here we can see overexposures and flares. Colors are not as saturated as in more expensive models. The camera placed in the hole on the left side of the display is responsible for selfies. We cannot miss it. It has 12 megapixels and an f2.0 lens. It offers a good quality of photos in good lighting. It can even record videos in 4K, which is not that often in smartphones in the similar price shelf. It is best to forget about selfies after dark. We cannot deny this. The quality of photos from the main camera is noticeably weaker than in the more expensive Motorola One Vision. In that phone we have 48 megapixel Samsung camera and optical image stabilization. Here the whole concept is based on something resembling a sport camera. It is time to check how it works in practice. When it comes to their products, manufacturers usually define the target group of their products quite generally. For Motorola One Action, the target is rather precise. The One Vision model was directed to fans of mobile photography, while One Action is supposed to attract people looking for a sport camera. The smartphone is of course not a sport camera, but it provides an appropriate mode, with wide angle and digital stabilization, in which recordings are realized using a vertical screen orientation. A 16-megapixel camera is responsible for video recording. However, in the Action Cam mode the resolution is limited to Full HD. The technology of connecting pixels was used to enhance the sensitivity, and the quality of recordings is generally weaker than in the standard mode, especially when it comes to details. However, the most irritating thing is that there is a wide-angle lens that cannot be used for taking photos. We can only save shots while recording a video, but the resolution and the quality are so low that it is not worth using this option. What more can we say when it comes to Action Cam? We must appreciate the general idea, because it is much more comfortable to record videos while holding the smartphone vertically, though the preview from recording in such a way is really small. The digital image stabilization works great, and videos taken with wide angle are simply eye-pleasant. We cannot compare results with a professional sport camera, but if you do not have one at hand, and we usually carry the smartphone with ourselves, Motorola One Action can be a worthy replacement. However, in comparison with a sport camera, we must be more careful with the smartphone. It is neither waterproof nor resistant to shocks and falls. Videos taken with Action Cam can be compared with a traditional recording mode in Full HD, while those taken in 4K have a high quality, but they lack stabilization completely. Communication. Motorola One Action covers the full package of communication modules that can be expected from a contemporary smartphone. The device supports 4G networks and 2 SIM cards. It has a dual-channel Wi-Fi, NFC, Bluetooth 5.0 and navigation supporting GPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS systems. It even has an FM radio. From physical sockets, the review model has a USB-C socket with OTG function and a universal mini jack. Voice calls. When it comes to calls, the smartphone works decently. They are loud and clear. There are no problems with the network coverage and using 2 SIM cards. In addition, we can configure their work using smart functions, a default division for a private or business, or a manual configuration. We can block unwanted calls as well. Memory and efficiency. From 128 GB of internal memory, the user is left with 115 GB. This space can be extended using a microSD card at the expense of one of the SIM cards. Motorola One Action uses the same CPU as the One Vision model, a unit provided by Samsung, that is Exynos 9609 2.2 GHz. In addition, there are 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal memory for users' files. With this configuration, the smartphone has no problems with a fast and smooth work of the system, playing multimedia, working with many tabs in the browser and even with gaming. The efficiency of course will not match with those models designed for gamers. Battery. Motorola One Action has a 3500 mAh battery, which supports the Turbo Power quick charging technology. But we will not experience this with the 10W charger added to the set. In order to fully charge the battery, it will take 2 hours and 20 minutes. And what with lifespans? The smartphone can work up to 2 days without a charger. When used intensively, for a 1 day until the evening. For a few years now, Motorola has secured a strong position among middle-price shelf models. With each model, it only shows that it is worth investing in its products. Motorola smartphones are solid and reliable models, priced adequately to their capabilities, with a pure soft and everything that is necessary for a user. Of course, we can find devices that will have a more beneficial specification, equipment and price ratio, but Motos do not belong to devices that can, to put it simply, let you down. The price of Motorola One Action is set for €260. In the same segment we can find models like Samsung Galaxy A50 with OLED display, Xiaomi Mi 9 SE, Redmi Note 7, Motorola One Vision, Moto G7 or Huawei P Smart.